I love how the commissioner was just like, all right, nobody thinks you did it, but like, I kind of got to arrest somebody. What a douche.
But also, like, her hands were fucking red. Like,
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I mean, what else were you supposed to do when you find a dead man? But also, hey, 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 everyone. I'm Becca. He's Matt. And this is Book Love Podcast. And welcome back to our buddy read of The Nightingale Mysteries by Katharine Schellman.
Today, we are diving into part 1 of book 3, The Last Note of Warning. And we read chapters 1 through 20. And to be honest with you, Becca, I can't believe that I made this. I can't believe that we're actually talking about this right now.
To be fair, it's the only reason I think you're saying that is because you didn't start reading it until Saturday. Meanwhile, I, for once, had been plugging along each night reading a few chapters. We flipped. We flipped reading styles.
Yeah, listen, this whole book world thing has like exploded really recently. And so I was reading Red Clay Susie by Jeffrey Dale Lofton. And I was reading like 2 or 3 chapters at a time, just taking my time with it, blah, blah, blah. And then I hit a point like 2/3 of the way through where it just went emotional and you can't put it down. And I was like, I have to talk to this author. So it was like Thursday, and I was 75% of the way through the book. And I asked the author, hey, I got to talk to you. Would you do an interview? And he's all like, heck yeah, man. And I was like, oh, well, now I got to finish this book and I need to write an interview. And I don't want to put a whole bunch of new subject matter into my head before I write the interview. So I finished the book. And then on Friday, I wrote the interview in its entirety. And then Saturday, I started reading our book, but then it was also really busy on Sunday. And I had to edit a podcast episode this morning and get that out there by 9 a.m. And I have 2 books from a Canadian publishing um, company that they want me to read and interview their authors that I just got in my email earlier this week. And an author sent me a Google Doc of their manuscript that they want me to read. Um, anyway, so I might be running on 3 hours of sleep today because I was up reading this. But I'm really glad I did because I think this might be the best book of the series so far.
Oh my god, it started so fast and hard.
Did you do you have yours with you?
Yeah, it's in my bedroom.
Hmm. Do you remember what I think Catherine, the author, signed yours. Do you remember what she signed in the book 3?
She only
No.
signed my first book.
Oh, okay. To Matt, who loves Buffy. It's like my favorite. I think might be my favorite autograph thing ever. And these covers, like, listen, if you're watching on Spotify or YouTube, we all need to take a minute to appreciate the cover game that the Nightingale Mysteries has. And I don't mean to be a shallow jerk, but like, I think covers are important. These covers are amazing. But
And
anyway,
learning
yeah.
how little control authors have over their covers is wild to me.
Hmm. So it makes you wonder when the covers are good. How does that happen? Is it just luck?
Maybe the cover artist actually read the book before they put it together.
Maybe. I know working with Sarah Samuels in the Blade of Shadows world, indie authors, they just go get a graphic designer and work with them one on one to create the covers, which is amazing and so much different than like a publishing house like Minotaur Books, apparently. But it's crazy because like you get these good covers and you get other books where the covers are just crap. And but yeah, the this story starts fast. Like I think book 2, I struggled to get into it. And this one is like chapter 1, there's a dead guy.
Yes.
So, what do you think?
I think it's really good.
Best of the
I know.
series?
Such a profound thought, right? Really good.
Really good. Like really
2
good or
stars.
like really, really good? 2 release, 3 release. What how many release?
Um, Definitely better than the second book as far as the starting goes. Um, I don't know, I still really like the first book because I love a world building scenario. This one we have some of the world already in it. But what I really like about her writing style, so each of these books were published about a year apart. And I know a lot of readers who will not read a series until it's finished because not all authors will revisit information. So you have to have enough recent memory of the book to be able to know what's going on. Catherine's not one of those authors. She will give you a little bit of the background that you need from prior books or prior things to make sure
Yeah.
that you're on the same page when you're reading. So even though I've read them all back to back and I don't necessarily need that, I also don't find it a deterrent as someone who is reading the whole series all the way through. But if you found this book and read one and then read the next one a year later, you'd be totally fine.
Amen. And actually thinking about that, I really like the way she does it because she kind of gives you tiny little tidbits when you need the tidbits. Whereas if you read something like The Wheel of Time or even Harry Potter, it's just like info dump in the first like 3 chapters. And you're like, dudes, let's go. Yeah. So I agree with you. You get what you need, but like along the way. So it's not, I appreciate that. That's a really good observation that I didn't even think of. Um, yeah, I don't know if I have much more to add to that. I really liked the first book. The first book was a lot of ambiance. It was a lot of what does this club feel like and what is this world like and who are these people? Um, this one is like I think I like it more because it's all settled.
Hmm.
It feels so lived in. Um, but yet the world we're in now with the mystery and the murder and everything is also different than what we got in the first 2 books. So, yeah, and I wasn't expecting her to be able to really do that, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, like there's a plethora of new characters, new spaces that we're in that feel familiar yet brand new.
Mhm. And then, this book takes place a year after book 2,
Yes.
and I love how just stuff has happened in that year,
Yes.
and it's just like you get fed the stuff that happened, like, as background information, like, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
It just is there.
But it also kind of makes you want to giggle. And a little part of you is like, I want more. And then you're also like, but do I need it? Maybe I don't need it.
So I remember thinking the entire time, I'm, like, getting irritated. I'm like, "No, but what happened with Danny and Flo? What happened with Vivian and Honor? What happened with Vivian and Leo? What is going on?" And then she gives it to you. I'm like, "Oh, okay, good. She's not a bad author."
Huh? It's delightful.
It is delightful. It is so delightful that mayhaps we should recap it.
But I have one thing we have to discuss before we
Rock
get
on.
there.
Rock on. Do it.
It's annual cherry blossom time.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
And I'm gonna be
It's,
honest, they didn't do well this year. We got like 4 solid days.
I don't think anything's gonna do well this did you get all that hail?
I don't know. Maybe.
We got an F ton of hail up here in Central Ohio, so our flowers won't bloom because they're all just, like, beaten down, and it, like, stripped blossoms and stuff off of the dogwoods, and I just assume that the yo-yo weather is just screwing with all of the plants, and I feel bad for
Yeah.
them.
But
Because
we've had
when I was in school, I remember I loved, Ohio University because it reminded me of, North Carolina, except for the spring, and it reminds you of, like, Washington, DC.
yes.
It's gorgeous. But then in the winter with the snowy hills and whatever, it's a little bit more like Virginia. I think that's why I always loved OU. I got like all of these different, so pretty. And it's mostly untouched. Is the spring like that? So like when it snows, you don't get all of the traffic and the foot like the vehicular traffic and the foot traffic to ruin everything. And it looks like a Ron Kincaid painting or a Bob Ross
Yeah.
painting.
The snow stays white.
And it's like the cherry blossoms are like that too.
Yes.
Like it's so, but I'm bummed. You only got 4 days.
Yeah. We've had previous years where there have been heavy winds and they still lasted a lot longer. So part of me wonders, like, how many months ago that weather did it impact? Like, did we not get enough rain? Did we get too much rain? Because clearly it wasn't like just the weather we recently had, but a little sad.
So I know that the cherry blossoms are all over like the medical campus and the actual university campus. I don't I don't know if I've actually ever looked out your like back window in the spring. Is too much bamboo? What's going on? You don't have the trees in your neighborhood or
No, the cherry blossoms are just around campus. I think they were a gift to the university, so I think that's how they have
okay.
them. You're definitely not native.
Okay. What's a bummer you only got 4 days because that's like some of the best parts of living where you live.
Hmm.
So did all the blossoms just fall off or are they turn green into leaves?
It fell.
Yeah. All right.
But don't you worry, I got an annual picture. Love
All
it.
right. Um yeah, so we read chapters 1 through 20 of The Last Note of Warning. And before we dive deep into it, let's go through and recap this sucker.
Yeah.
Cool.
Our story begins in 1925 Manhattan, roughly a year since the events of the last drop of hemlock, and not much has changed.
Vivian is delivering a dress to a Mrs. Buchanan at a mansion on Fifth Avenue after a very long night working at the Nightingale.
A freckled, redheaded maid shows Vivian to the upstairs parlor to wait. Mr. Buchanan is already there and awaits with Vivian, drinking coffee and whiskey, and is a little bit tipsy.
Mr. Buchanan is eventually called away to chat with a man that's come to see him on business, and Vivian takes the opportunity to sit on the sofa while waiting for Mrs. Buchanan to arrive.
Despite the coffee Mr. Buchanan gave her, Vivian almost immediately falls asleep and is jarred awake an hour later when the clock chimes noon.
And she sits bolt upright, terrified that she'd been found sleeping on the job. But that doesn't happen because Mrs. Buchanan still hasn't shown up for her appointment an hour later.
With no pen or paper to leave a note, Vivian goes in search of Mr. Buchanan's office to inform either him that she cannot wait any longer and must depart, or to find something on which to leave a note.
And Vivian finds both. Mr. Buchanan is all alone in his office, his coffee cup shattered as though he had dropped it when he fell asleep. Vivian walks over to him to shake him awake and gasps as her hand comes away covered in.
That's when Vivian notices that Mr. Buchanan has a knife protruding from his neck. His clothes are soaked through with blood, and he is not alive.
So Vivian does exactly what she knows how to do, and she screams for help, which just sets off like the perfect storm of events.
Miss Buchanan literally walks in the front door, and the staff restrains Vivian as they call the cops.
When the police arrive, it's very clear that they think Vivian is guilty and they place her under arrest after some very biased questioning.
Vivian tells the cops that she'll only come quietly without making a scene if she's allowed to have a phone call right then and there. They agree, and she calls Leo.
Vivian loses track of time in the interrogation room at the police station. She stays quiet, it's like silent, or only provides one word answers until eventually a lawyer named Mr. Dubinsky shows up and tells her that they are leaving.
In the lobby, Leo is waiting, and the three of them leave the police station and walk into the setting sun to get dinner. Vivian's first meal of the day.
I can't even imagine what that would be like.
Mm-mm.
Anyways, Dubinsky is a retired lawyer and an old friend of Leo's father. In exchange for the favor, Leo buys him dinner.
While Vivian is out of jail and no official charges have been filed, the case and dead body aren't going anywhere. And Dubinsky isn't coming out of retirement for this one.
After he leaves, Vivian tells Leo that she owes him one big. But then Leo says that his girl doesn't ever owe him anything. And isn't that just like that was awesome. So hand in hand, the two head back to Vivian's apartment so she can get ready for her shift at the Nightingale.
Vivian used to live on the third floor with her sister Flo, but she moved down to a cheaper room on the second floor when Flo married Danny and moved downtown. I just love how she just slid that in there.
Yeah. Just like she slid in there that Vivian and Leo are still together. Like, okay, cool. But wouldn't you know it? Waiting outside her door is a police officer and the commissioner who wants a word with Vivian.
The commissioner let Vivian leave the police station out of the goodness of his heart and as a favor to Leo. But Mr. Buchanan was a very well-to-do and very well-connected man with many friends who the commissioner needs to provide answers to. So Vivian has 1 week of freedom, and if the police don't have another suspect in custody by then, she will be placed under arrest. Ew. And if she decides to skip town, the commissioner has no problem visiting a friend or a sister instead.
After the commissioner leaves, Vivian changes clothes and fixes her hair with very shaky hands. If she only has 1 week and she can't run, she really needs to start calling in some favors. And to do that, she better not be late for work.
As Vivian enters the Nightingale, she runs into Honor almost immediately, and Honor knows something is wrong. Vivian recounts the whole story and asks for Honor's help for her connections. With unshed tears, Honor kisses Vivian on the forehead and tells her she can't help this time and that she's sorry.
Yep. Out on the main floor, Vivian tries to just dive into her waitressing duties, but like the first table she needs to bring a drink to has Mr. Buchanan's stepson sitting at it, Cornelius Rokesby.
Vivian is paralyzed, recognizing him from the aftermath at the Buchanan's residence on Fifth Avenue.
In a panic, Vivian pawns the drinks off on Ellie and runs to the back alley to get a breath of fresh air and calm down. But then the door opens into her back and Cornelius Rokesby steps out into the alley.
Surprisingly, he doesn't seem to recognize Vivian. He only knows that she works there and has questions about Honor Uxley. Yeah, Honor. When Vivian doesn't comply with his demands, Rokesby becomes threatening. But then Honor and a bouncer intervene.
The rest of Vivian's shift is pretty uneventful, and it definitely passes in a blur. But Vivian wonders how Honor and Rokesby know each other.
The next day, Vivian decides to begin tying up some loose ends since she only has 6 days of freedom left.
First, after Miss Ethel's deliveries are done, of course, Vivian buys B a book of poetry as a gift and fills her in on what happened.
Bea swears she knows the last name Buchanan and then finds the help wanted ad she had read. They are looking for a new maid, apparently.
The second loose end is that Vivian takes a ride downtown to the Chin's restaurant to see Flo. And get this, Vivian actually tells Florence everything.
Arriving back at her apartment, Vivian steps on a note shoved under the door. Bea got the maid job, so she can be inside for Vivian, and she starts tomorrow.
Dude, what a good friend. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the next day, right, we have 5 days to go. And B sneaks Vivian into the Buchanan residence so she can overhear Mr. Buchanan's will being read to the family. They almost make it to Vivian's hiding spot, but they're interrupted by none other than the infamous Hattie Wilson.
Apparently, the late Mr. Wilson was the nephew of Mr. Huxley Buchanan, and Hattie was invited to hear the will as family. She is most amused by Bee and Vivian's little scheme, and promises not to say a word because she wants to see their reactions to everything.
Here's what happens with his will in a quasi nutshell, right? His law practice is divided like this: 10% goes to Hattie Wilson, 10% goes to Corny Rokesby, and 40% each goes to the other two partners who are pissed. On top of that, some of his money is given to Corny Rokesby and to Evangeline Rokesby, but everything else and his entire estate is given to his daughter, Honor Huxley. Everybody is flabbergasted.
After the proceedings are finished, Bee sneaks Vivian out of the house, only for a sleek black car to pull up at the curb. Hattie Wilson wants to have a chat with her.
Essentially, Mrs. Wilson insinuates that Honor, one, has the stomach and spine for taking someone out, two, had the most to gain from his untimely death, three, was able to set Vivian up without like any effort, and four, is now refusing to help Vivian after the fact.
Vivian refuses to believe it. It just doesn't make sense. Why would Honor turn on Vivian? Hattie advises her to confront Honor and ask some questions as the car pulls up in front of Vivian's building.
Because they just know where she lives. That's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. As the car pulls away, Leo calls Vivian's name because he'd just been hanging out waiting for her to get home because he has some news.
Seeing her so spooked, Leo decides to take her to dinner instead, where Vivian tells him everything that happened and everything she learned. Leo's news is that he can get them in to see the coroner about Mr. Buchanan's death, which is what they do immediately after paying for the dinner.
Mr. Buchanan sure was stabbed in the neck with one of the kitchen knives, no less. But the coroner also found that he was being poisoned, and it's almost as though someone had been unaliving him very slowly and then got impatient. It doesn't clear Vivian, but it might help her.
That night at the Nightingale, Vivian finds some time to corner Honor in her office to ask some questions. Long story short, Honor had a twin, Stella, and a mother who both died from influenza after a lifetime of impoverished living conditions, despite having a very rich father.
Unsatisfied, Vivian ducks out of Honor's office only to be grabbed by B because there's an undercover cop sitting at the bar and the Nightingale is about to be raided.
Vivian, however, immediately recognizes the cop as Mr. Levinsky, who accompanied the commissioner to her apartment the other evening. Vivian assures B and Danny that no raid is happening.
And she plops herself into a chair next to this dude and just begins chatting him up. He is there to tell Leo about the case as like a favor to Leo to pay him back, but Leo's not there, so Vivian will just have to do.
Essentially, it seems that Miss Buchanan and her son Corny aren't revealing any details about where they were, who they were with, or what they were doing that day Mr. Buchanan was killed. Isn't that a little suspicious?
Okay. After thanking him, Levinsky leaves only to be replaced by Hattie Wilson's thug Bruiser George.
And of course, Vivian owes Miss Wilson a favor, and George is there to cash it in. Tomorrow, Vivian will be making a delivery to a Miss Morris, and Miss Wilson needs Vivian to steal a letter belonging to Miss Morris. Mr. Morris. Vivian eventually agrees to help and then recruits Leo to help her.
I just love how Hattie Wilson just knows everything. Just like crazy. With 4 days left, Vivian arrives at the Morris residence and is led upstairs by Maid Mary to fit Mrs. Morris with her new gown. But the fitting is interrupted by Leo, who begins banging on the front door and calling for Marie to marry him.
While Miss Morris leaves to deal with this drastic misunderstanding, Vivian takes her chance and dashes into Mr. Morris's room and begins looking for the letter. But she is interrupted by Mary, who actually helps her find the letter. And I love this moment to pieces.
Yes, agreed. Over a cup of coffee at Vivian's place, After the heist, but before her shift to the Nightingale, Leo and Vivian discover that the letter proves that Mr. Morse has been having an affair with someone whose signature is simply E.
But Vivian and Leo can't just have a peaceful moment as coffee is interrupted by B. She's there to deliver corny Ruxby's, whatever, appointment book. You know, the one she nabbed, the one he told the cops that didn't exist.
Unfortunately, it seems like it's mostly written in some sort of code, and they need someone in Rokesby's world to translate it.
That night at the Nightingale, Honor pointedly avoids Vivian, so that option is out. Luckily, though, Mags walks in and asks Vivian for a dance.
Love
Snaps
Mags.
Mag.
Love Mags. Um, After the dance, Vivian has Mags look over Corny's appointment book. In particular, Mags is able to decode the Gold Coast Boys and the Hamilton Lodge Masquerade Ball, which there's another one tomorrow night.
Mags can get tickets and wants Vivian to be her date. Vivian gets Mag to agree to Vivian also bringing Leo along, and they make plans to meet the next evening.
Our story comes to a pause as Bruiser George shows up to collect the Morris letter, which Leo very kindly handles for Vivian, who is lost in thought, wondering where in the world she's going to get dressed nice enough for the Hamilton Lodge masquerade on such short notice. Becca, once upon a time, chainsaws did not have warning labels on them.
I guess that's true. Bleach didn't either. People were just expected to use a little common sense and not drink it.
Yeah, but now everything comes with a warning. Like, hot coffee is hot, y'all. Clothing should be ironed when it's not being worn. And I don't know if you knew this one, but motor oil is not a tasty beverage.
Safety first, Matt. We've learned a lot as a society.
But it raises an interesting question. If dangerous tools need warning labels, why shouldn't books?
Good question. That's why today's episode is brought to you by the brand new Literary Safety Label Initiative.
Beginning this year, participating publishers can place clear, easy to read warnings on the backs of their books.
Warnings like caution, characters may refuse to share critical information.
Or, warning, this misunderstanding could be resolved with a single honest conversation.
And our personal favorite, do not operate heavy machinery after or while reading.
These labels are designed to help readers set realistic expectations before embarking on chapter 1. Because sometimes the real danger isn't poison, betrayal, or even murder.
It's two adults standing 3 feet apart, refusing to say words out loud to each other.
Communication can easily save lives, but it also costs word count, and readers expect a certain length in their books.
And that's where the Literary Safety Label Initiative comes into play. Contact them today and begin properly labeling immediately. And now back to the show.
Where would you like to begin? I'm going to let you kind of choose our adventure this evening.
I don't know. I feel like we've recapped a decent amount of this. The one part we didn't do. So Danny and Florence are married, and they're living downtown. Well, downtown near their restaurant, yes. And Flo is pregnant.
Oh, yes. Flo be expecting a child. Actually, question. I think part of that there was a thing where Danny was all wigging out and tired because he's been taking care of Flo because she can't stand up too long before she gets dizzy. All right. All right. General question. This might be a man question. What is up with that? Mainly, maybe it's our like modern society, but it just seems to me that like most pregnant women these days they're just motoring around doing everything until their water breaks and they get shoved into an ambulance or whatever to go to the hospital. But like back in the day, like do they just not have nutrition? Were they all severely dehydrated? What is going on here?
I mean, nutrition is definitely a part of Flo's likely problem as a very impoverished person. But no, I think people don't talk about the first trimester of pregnancy.
No, I guess not.
because
Can,
you're not supposed to tell people you're pregnant until your risk of miscarriage is low. But your first semester or semester, your first trimester of pregnancy, your hormones are significantly changed and your nausea is significantly elevated to the point where like people throw up all the time, they can't eat, they can't drink. So yeah, you're gonna not be able to stand.
dude, this sounds awful.
Typically people feel better in their second trimester, but then in your third trimester, you have a bowling ball strapped to the front of you.
Literally. Um, but yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy for Danny and Florence. That's so cute.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully
it's
Flo's pregnancy goes better for the rest of it.
amen. I wonder if Flo is going to even make an appearance or if she's just off page pregnant.
Who knows?
But it does beg the question if essentially Flo and Danny met 1 year ago
Mhm.
in the last book. They've gotten married
Mhm.
and pregnant
Mhm.
since then.
Mhm.
And Leo and Vivian seem to still be in the courtship phase of their relationship.
Right?
I guess to each their own.
We get in book 1 that Flo wants a relationship, and we get in book 1 that Vivian does not.
Then in book 2, she legitimately proactively asks Leo for a date.
Yep.
Kind of makes you think that they're in a real relationship now, not just a friendship situationship thing.
Right? But that might not mean she wants to marry him.
Yeah, marriage is tough, y'all. Yeah. Here's something that there's two things that I noticed in this book that I didn't get in the first two books. I think in the beginning of the last note of warning here, we get a lot of description about how everybody at the Nightingale um, like wants it to be a secret. Like, oh, you saw me here, you can't tell anybody. But I felt like in the first couple books, it was just like a free for all, and there was some unspoken rule that like you don't like what happens at the Nightingale stays at the Nightingale type of a thing. But this book makes it like it's all very hush hush, and I don't know why, but that felt like a really jarring difference to me.
I did not pick up on that as much of a difference.
Maybe let me ask you this then. The other thing I noticed that I probably should have noticed in the first two books, but I didn't, is how young our cast of characters is.
Mhm. Like
Now, I
Mags
think
is not yet 17.
exactly, which means in the first book, she was like 15, maybe 16, but she's out at the speakeasies drinking champagne and dancing until 1, 2 in the morning. Um, and then, so Vivian, we finally get an age for her in the beginning of this book. She's 24, and that's fine. But then you get Hattie Wilson is the same age as Vivian, and that blew my mind
Mhm. Mhm.
because she seems like a 38-year-old mob boss.
Yes. Yes.
And then that makes me think that Honor Huxley can't be more than like 30, probably younger.
Right?
Um, and it's just like, is this like a Gossip Girl thing? Is this just like high society? You just live this completely different life, and Gossip Girl actually got that right?
Sure. I am unfamiliar with high society life in 1920s in New York. Believe it or not, I did not time travel.
Well, thank you for adding to this conversation.
Ooh, I got called out there.
but
Oh.
but Mags is back and she's 17, and that kind of blew my mind. And I'm so glad she's back. I wanted her to get back in the second book. She didn't get back in the second book.
She's back and she's a critical player this time because this is how we are getting the tickets. And mind you, she's just like, yeah, I'll pay for the tickets. We're 17, we have no job, but we definitely have access to money. Okay. Okay.
I love how she's like, do me a favor, Vivian. If I get the tickets all sorted out, will you go with me?
Like Vivian was going to say no to that. I loved Vivian's response. She's like, well, this is the easiest favor I've been asked so far. So,
Yeah, because Hattie Wilson is like, in exchange for me not telling on you, I need you to commit theft for me.
yes, I'm going to need you to collect other people's blackmail so that I don't blackmail you.
Man. Um, here's another detail that I've noticed. I want to get your take on this. So Vivian goes into all of these rich people's homes throughout these 3 books. Not once have we had a mention of a single pet. There's not been a cat. There's not been a corgi or Pomeranian or Scottish
For the
Terrier
for the rich
for the rich
people.
people.
There was a mention of a pet for a neighbor, I think, at one point.
Hmm.
Wasn't like an uncle or something got a dog? Like the dog followed them home or something.
I do not recall.
There was a mention of a dog in this book
Okay.
for a poor neighbor of Bee's. I think it's Bee's cousin or something.
I guess I've just been expecting every time Vivian goes to Snoop or whatever for a dog to show up and like make noise and cause tension or something. And then I feel like all of the rich people in the real world seem to have some cutesy high end pup
Yes,
these days.
yes.
Um, and isn't that what they were kind of known for back in the Victorian era and whatever?
I mean, corgis were always the queen's favorite.
Hmm. Because rich people could afford thoroughbred animals and it was like a status symbol.
Yes.
But instead of a pet, we get Mary interrupting the note hunting.
It's just such a stunning moment. She's like, "Are you robbing us?" Vivian's like, "No." And she's like, "Are you sure? You look
Because I
like you're
want
robbing
some.
us." Right? Like, you're not entirely sure what Mary's alternative motive is, and then she's like, "Well, what are you looking for? Can I help you find it?"
These people are a
Vivian
pill.
describes it. Vivian describes it, and then she immediately goes, "Oh, blackmail. I know where that is."
It's in the Bible, which is where you keep a letter detailing your adultery.
She hands it over, and then she's like, "You never saw me here." And Vivian's like, "Same? Same girl, same?" Like, clearly Mary's not thrilled with her employment currently.
No.
So,
And I feel like the fact that we got that scene means that Mary is going to be a player later.
potentially. I'm interested to see where this piece of blackmail goes. Like, do we get it in this book, or does this become a plot point in book 4?
Ooh. So it's signed E. And we know that there is an Evangeline Rokesby.
Mhm.
I think that's Corny's sister.
Sounds right.
And then I think he has an aunt, and it's like Aunt Edith or something.
Mhm.
So those are 2 E's, and I think those are the only E's that we know. So I'm wondering if Evangeline Rokesby was having an affair because the Rokesbys are like a different family that married in. So was Buchanan or was Morris like diddling Buchanan's stepdaughter or something?
Who knows?
I think it's going to become a thing here. I think it's a clue because we also get the stationery, what stationery it was on. And I'm wondering if that's going to be something that they decrypt in Corny's appointment book.
Mm.
I think that might be interesting. But
How
otherwise,
do
we
you
don't
think
really
did it?
know who the sorry, who do we who are we going on? We're moving on to like
Yeah, who do you think did it?
I'm of the opinion that we all of our potential suspects right now feel really thin.
Mhm.
Like in book 2, they were like even from like 25% of the way through the book, they were all like nail on the head
Mhm.
right there in front of you. And I feel like it's the exact opposite with this book. Cause like who are our suspects? We have the stepson, Corny. Obviously it's not him. I don't think it's him. I think he's just a little I think he's a little fuck boy. I think he's an F boy.
Mhm.
Um we have the wife,
Mhm.
and I don't think it's her either. I think she's too uptight and she wants to be part of society too much to do that. And then we have Hattie Wilson and Honor Huxley. And I don't know how Honor Huxley could be it. That I feel like that would just like ruin the series of books.
But she's
Um,
being real weird.
she is being real weird. We need to talk about that. And I don't think it's Hattie either. And quite frankly, this book makes me really like Hattie Wilson. Like not as a good person, but like as a character that I want more
Yes.
of.
She's like, "I'll
So
help you, but only if you help me."
yeah, and she throws shade everywhere.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so I don't know who did it. Who do you think did it?
I got no ideas. I'm along for the ride on this book.
Okay, so let's go through the clues. Let's hear 'em. We know that he was being poisoned slowly. We know that the a kitchen knife from the house was used, and both of those things indicate that somebody relatively close to him did it. And obviously, the poison and the knife stabbing could be two different people. And then, of course, we have the will or the inheritance. Is I don't know if that's a clue or if that's a red herring clue, but it could have been a motive that just didn't come to fruition afterwards.
I think the
So,
poison has to be someone of a similar, background as Buchanan, like a rich high society person, because they've also talked about the massive amount of staff turnover that they've had.
yes,
So unless it's the cranky woman that we first meet, who maybe has been there for a while and is the reason for the staff turnover.
like the head maid bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, like, if you're gonna poison somebody, like, what you got to slip it in there, right? And so I just kept thinking, is the real reason that Vivian fell asleep on that couch because she was drinking the coffee and the coffee was laced with something? Because poison is more or less, I mean, arsenic and stuff like that is more or less a heavy metal,
Yep.
like magnesium.
Mhm.
And like that'll make you conk out under the right conditions. And she was just tired to start, right? Anyways, okay, so who's spiking his coffee? Like his wife wasn't home to do that, right?
In theory.
In theory. So, but if the staff is just having turnover, oh, here's we the maid that shows Vivian up in the very beginning, her name is she is named Lena.
Mhm.
But then she gets dismissed, and that's the vacancy that B essentially
Yeah.
fills. So why do we get a named maid in the beginning just for her to be fired and no longer a part of the story?
Good question.
Why go to the trouble of naming this character? Makes me feel like she's got to be a part or coming back or something. I think I don't know why, but the note being signed E is very reminiscent to the note being signed H in the second book. And that
Mhm.
ended up being Dr. Harris. So is this just going to obviously be Evangeline? Because she hasn't said anything. Like the aunt it was the vocal one during the will. She was all pissed off and mean. But Evangeline is just real quiet and staying in the shadows. And that seems suspicious.
Right? None of it's adding up well, which is exciting. So I can't wait to read the rest of it.
Yes. Yes. I feel like she's really, I don't want to say upped her game with this book, but it feels different.
The Now that I know that she's cozy, and some of these not so cozy scenes aren't gonna go bad, I feel like it also is making it easier. So like I can't wait to read more of her work because I think that will also like help me read a little bit faster too. If I get stressed reading a book, I usually tend to put it down. And this book felt a little reminiscent of like, right? I mean, Vivian was falsely accused of doing something. And I've had a recent moment where I was falsely accused of doing something. So reading that chapter, I was like, this is horrible.
Shit, how triggering was that?
It was pretty triggering. I made it through. I finished the next chapter and then I went to bed. So,
I didn't even think of that.
yeah. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to be thinking about this moment right now, but I guess this is why we read so we can process.
I mean, it does kind of put your situation into context a little bit. I mean, you didn't get accused of offing somebody.
That's
So
true. That's true.
that's
I was
it,
accused of
it's-
something that wouldn't even have actually been a crime.
ooh, something I really like about this book, and maybe this helps the book. Um, I kind of lost track of time in the first two books.
Hmm.
You're not really sure if these things take place over a week or a month or what, but this book is like she has a week of freedom, and so it's a day by day account in a week, and you have a countdown at the beginning of these chapters, and I feel like that really helps my brain stay in tune here.
Right? Like if I had to guess, the other books also happened over the course of a week, 2 weeks. Like it didn't feel like it was months, but having a definitive timeline is also nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So what? Well, first of all, any do you have any other thoughts, feelings about the book?
Just
Do you
excited
think
to read
we
the rest.
missed anything?
No. If we did, readers just need to read it.
Wait, what happened to Alba? Has she
She's
been
not popped
mentioned?
back up.
Man,
I
I
think
think
she was briefly mentioned that Alba is home and can watch Bee's siblings now, which is why Bee is able to get the job during the day, but that is like the end of the Alba content.
do we think let's see here, if we do the math, she was pregnant a year ago, but like she just sort of found out. So she was probably like 3 months pregnant, which means that she has a 6-month-old at home, give or take.
Yeah, if any of that
So
is right.
probably not working because of that. Where do you think um where do you think part 2 is going? I mean, obviously we're going to a masquerade ball in the next chapter.
And we're going to solve the murder. I'm so confident now that I've read 2 books. We're going to solve the murder and Vivian will not be charged.
Yeah, I love how the commissioner was just like, "All right, nobody thinks you did it, but like I kind of got to arrest somebody."
Yep.
What a douche.
But also, like, her hands were fucking red. Like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, what else were you supposed to do when you find a dead man? But also,
Yeah, I don't know like because of 1920s, but like today, if I walked into somebody's study and saw that and you just leave to go get help or something, then you get like fried on the 6 o'clock news for not being a good Samaritan. But if you do go over and touch it, it's like, how could you touch evidence? We've had 30 years of CSI on TV.
I don't know. I don't know. All of that, you're not winning. You're never winning.
But oh, we did not talk about why Honor is being so shady.
Mm.
Why do you think she's being so weird?
I think because she doesn't want to be implicated in the murder because she had the most gain from it. So I think if she does too much snooping, she will be implicated as the murderer. So it makes sense to me. It's just annoying.
Well, why do you think she didn't even tell Vivian that the guy was her father? Like, why especially because she said, like, "Oh, you're gonna find out soon enough." And it's like, well, if Vivian's gonna find out, why not just tell her?
I don't know. She's a
It's
woman of
just
many mysteries.
it's just a plot device?
Maybe she wants Vivian gone. Maybe she's gotten too close to Vivian and she doesn't want that blackmail potential.
Hmm. Well, I guess on the I still don't think she did it. I don't think she did it. But on the flip side, we have Hattie Wilson, and I need more of this woman. I think Hattie Wilson is gonna be a big part of book 4. Um, I can't wait because she's sort of like she is to Vivian as Moriarty is to Sherlock Holmes,
Hmm.
and I kinda love it a little bit, and I can't wait.
It's delightful.
Well, I guess, next week, we will be back with part 2, which will be chapters 21 through the end, and we're gonna get to start with a masquerade ball, which are always fun to read.
Don't forget to leave a comment or send us an email. Our contact information is in the description below.
So, thank you for listening, and until next time,
See you later.
bye.